What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy to have you. If you're new, my name is Mari. If you're not new, welcome back. Thank you so much for subscribing. So today's video is going to be all about my fitness routine, my current fitness routine. We're going to talk about my current workout split, my current fitness goals, how I'm eating. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you like it, and don't forget to subscribe if you have not yet. At the moment, I am in a really fun phase of my fitness journey. I am trying to grow muscle. Some people would call this a lean bulk, meaning that I'm eating healthfully, I'm eating the things that make me feel good, but I am eating more of it. So I'm eating in a caloric surplus, which will allow me to gain some muscle, and that is the goal. I seriously love having the goal of gaining muscle. I think it is so cool to train with the motivation of growing rather than shrinking. I love the idea of growing muscle, feeling empowered. I think it's so cool, and the fact that I get to eat more food, I am not complaining. My training split has not changed that much. I would say I'm definitely focusing on lifting heavy weight and going pretty intense at the gym right now, which I love. I love lifting heavy. I love pushing my body, and I feel like that is really helping me put on some muscle along with eating really well. Those are my current fitness goals. If you watched my video on what's in my fridge, I am still eating the same things. I'm just eating more of it. I think the thing that is really awesome about fitness is that you can always create new goals and new achievements for yourself. As you guys probably know, I did lose 70 pounds. Go check out my transformation story if you're interested, but I am not stopping there. I'm creating new goals for myself. I want to gain muscle. I want to be even stronger and healthier. With that said, let's go into my current workout split. Before I get into my workout split, I want you guys to know that everyone has a different workout split for a reason. Everyone's goals are different, everyone has different schedules, but I want to show you what I do to give you some ideas of a split that might work for you, or to show you certain muscle groups that work really well paired together in one day. If you're a beginner, this is going to be great for you. My workout split is definitely not super regimented or scheduled. I definitely go off how I'm feeling that day, how my body's feeling, am I sore in that area, and I move things around accordingly, but I'm going to talk you through a typical week of my workout split. So I have my little workout schedule on my phone, and I will talk it through with you, the types of exercises I do, the types of warm-ups I do, etc. Let's start with Monday. So Monday I will usually do some shoulders. I freaking love training shoulders. It's probably my favorite thing to train. I love getting a shoulder pump. I love setting PRs with shoulders. I think shoulders look really great, so shoulders are definitely one of my favorite days. Shoulders are one of the areas I would really like to see some growth, so I definitely train heavy and intensely on shoulder day. I will always start with a warm-up, so I will take maybe some 5-pound weights and do some light side laterals. I'll do some light overhead press, some, don't even know what these are called, but chest openings. Always a warm-up, some arm circles, get everything just warmed up. I'm literally doing my workout right now. This is great. With shoulders, I always start with side laterals, which is the exercise where it looks like this. I will start with 10 pounds and I'll do about a 15 rep set, and then I'll work my way up. That is a great exercise for just warming up the shoulders and making sure they're activated. And then I will move on to a compound movement, which is the overhead press. Overhead press is when you have dumbbells. You could be seated or standing, and you simply lift them over your head. This is the exercise I like to set a PR on, meaning I like to set a personal record for the weight I am pushing and for how many reps. My current PR is 30 pounds for 8 reps. It has taken me a long time to get to that point, so I'm very proud of that. A compound movement is when you are using more than just the muscle group you're training. So if you're doing a heavy overhead press, you are using your shoulders, you're using your triceps, a lot's going on, a lot of calories are being burned. It's a great strength movement. So after I do that, I'll probably move on to a little bit more of isolation movements for shoulders, maybe some upright rows, front delt. Now the thing with shoulders is a lot of people make this mistake of just training the side delt. When we do side laterals, we're hitting the side of your shoulder, but we also have a front delt and a rear delt. So during shoulder day, I make sure I hit all angles of the shoulder. So while I start with side laterals, overhead press, upright row. I want to make sure I'm also hitting the front with some front raises. If you're doing some kind of incline chest movement, you're definitely using your front delt. And rear delt is a tricky one, but I love training rear delt. It's very important for seeing shoulder development. For rear delt, I really like to use the pec deck, which is when you grab two handles, bringing it back. And the trick with the rear delt movement is you want to make sure you're pulling your hands apart. Keep thinking about that. A lot of these exercises require mind-muscle connection, and you really want to think about pulling your hands apart. Another great exercise for the rear delt is going to be a face pull, where you're pulling your hands apart, and you should feel great activation right here. Number one tip for shoulder day is make sure you're hitting your shoulder at all angles. Make sure you're doing a compound movement, pushing some weight, and also tiring out your shoulders with some isolation movements. So I get a ton of questions about how often I train abs and when. So on Mondays when I train shoulders, I will often also train a little bit of abs. I used to not train abs at all, which was a big mistake. Core strength is definitely very important. If you want to see development in your abs, you should definitely train them. However, you do not need to be training them every single day. But I do like to train abs when I'm training upper body. So I will often pair abs with shoulders or whatever it may be. So Monday for me is generally going to be shoulders and abs. And sometimes I mix in a little bit of chest on shoulder day, but I'll keep it probably even just to one exercise. Moving on to Tuesday, which is today. Tuesday for me is a quad leg day. I like to split up my leg days by muscle group. My quads grow very easily. They're definitely a dominant muscle group for me. They tend to take over any exercise I'm doing with my lower body. On quad day, I will often also do a couple of glute/hamstring movements, just because I struggle more in those areas than in my quads. Quad day has a pretty extensive warm-up. If you didn't know, I had a hip injury in the past and it tends to get very tight, so I do a lot of foam rolling, a lot of mobility stretching, a lot of warming up for quad day, because for me that's super important. And the first thing I'll usually do on quad day is head right for the squat rack. Always warm up with just the bar. Then I usually jump right into front squatting. Squatting is a compound movement. So as I said before, you're using multiple parts of your body, not just the muscle group you're training. And squats are a great area to set strength PRs, meaning I am trying to squat the most weight I can while being safe and keeping track of that. If you're trying to grow muscle, definitely keep track, or even if you're not trying to grow muscle, if you're new to the gym, definitely keep track of the weights you're using and the reps you're doing, and you can see how much you're improving each week, which is really awesome. I will jump right into front squat, and then I will sometimes do back squats. Back squats tend to really trigger my hip, so I don't do them too much, but I'm really trying to get back into back squatting. For me, squatting definitely activates my quads more than my glutes, and for some people it's the other way around. So from heavy front squatting and back squatting, I will move over to the leg extension, and I'll do some more isolation, lightweight, high rep movements, maybe some goblet squats, and then maybe I'll throw in another compound movement such as a leg press, which is going to be heavy as well. For me on quad day, I'm doing around 3 or 4 exercises, which really isn't too much, but it doesn't matter because I am going ham on each exercise I'm doing. I go really heavy, and then I go really high rep with the isolation movements, and my quads are jelly by the end. Once I'm done with my quads, I will often throw in an RDL or maybe a dumbbell RDL just to activate the glutes and hamstrings a little bit and wake them up, because my glutes are not as easily activated as my quads. So I like to throw in a couple of glute or hamstring movements at the end of my quad workout. Moving on to Wednesday. Wednesday is going to be an arm and ab day for me. What I mean by arms is biceps and triceps. I have a pretty unique way of training my biceps and triceps. I actually got this kind of method from Greg and I really enjoy it. I like to switch off between biceps and tricep exercises. So the way I like to warm up on a day like this is very similar, actually exactly the same to my shoulder day. I'll do some 5-pound side laterals, 5-pound overhead, 5-pound these, arm circles, stretches. My favorite tricep routine ever is to do about 10 to 12 push downs, rope push downs, which look like this. I'm crouching so you guys can see. Hello. I then like to go right from push downs into overhead extension, which is when your back and butt are against the cable machine, up against the pole, leaned over, and you're pushing above your head. And that stretch you get is super important, and then you explode up. This is a really great way to warm up your triceps and then just to work them in general. So I'll usually do a warm-up set, very lightweight. After I've done a warm-up set, I'll go into what they call a live set, where I'm doing my real weight, and I'll do about 3 sets, 10 reps of each exercise back to back. That'll get a lot of blood in your triceps and get you ready for the rest of the workout. I highly recommend it. And I like to always use a rope. Just saying. I will then move on to the free weights, and we will do some biceps. My all-time favorite exercise for biceps is spider curls, if you guys have not noticed. So what you're gonna need for spider curls is a bench where you can adjust the incline, and you're gonna need a pre-made easy bar. I usually do about 30 pounds, and you're gonna be leaning up against the bench. It helps if you have a partner for this, but you don't need one. Have someone pass you the bar, your arms are hanging, and then you lift, pause, lift again, drop. And the reason why this exercise is so effective is that you're not using your body to swing up the weight. You're leaning against the bench, your arms are hanging, dead weight. So all you're using to lift that bar up is your arms. So I find it really effective for the biceps. From the spider curls, I then move on to another tricep exercise, which will usually be a behind the head dumbbell extension or something else. I really like to mix it up to keep it fun. And then from that tricep exercise, I then move on to another bicep exercise. In total, I probably do about 3 tricep exercises and 3 bicep exercises, switching back and forth. I find this really effective because 1, it keeps it fun, and 2, the muscle group is not getting exhausted. I can keep going for longer than if I was just training triceps back to back or just training biceps back to back. So it keeps it interesting and it keeps me going longer. Then on arm day, I almost always train abs. I do like to switch up my ab routine a little bit. As I said before, I train abs Monday and Wednesday. So on Monday, perhaps I will do some cable crunches and leg lifts. And then on Wednesday, I like to switch it up, and maybe I'll do some stirring the pots, which is my new favorite movement, and maybe some weighted Russian twists and toe touches. So I kind of like to switch it up between like a floor routine and a weighted routine. Don't be afraid to throw some weight in there. I have found that has made a big difference with my abs. Moving on to Thursday. Thursday is almost always my rest day. Rest days are as important as your training days. A lot of people, when they first get into fitness, think that taking a rest day is like lazy and they're missing out on gains. But your body needs rest and relaxation in order to grow those muscles. Sit back, relax, eat your protein, and let your muscles grow. Moving on to Friday. Friday is a very important day because it is glute day. I take this day very seriously. It is a major goal of mine to grow my glutes. I do struggle activating my glutes. As I said before, my quads are super dominant, but I think I have made a lot of progress since learning about activation. My glute day warm-up is going to involve some mobility movements, some foam rolling, but also a lot of activation. If you have glutes that are difficult to activate, it's difficult to wake them up during whatever exercise you're doing, you need to activate your glutes. That is where a band is gonna come in so freaking handy, and that is actually a big reason why I started making the Mari Fitness band. I have always struggled activating my glutes, and I have found that a band is key for waking them up. There's a ton of different exercises you can do with a band to wake up your glutes. All a band is doing is adding resistance. It's making it difficult for you to pull your legs apart, and you're really using those glute muscles. I do about 2 to 3 activation movements before I even start my workout. So in general, I really like to start my workout with the compound movements because those are gonna take the most energy, the most calories. They're tough, and if you leave them to the end, girl, you're not gonna wanna do them. So yes, I like to do my compound movement first. That will usually be hip thrusts and RDLs. I like to go very heavy on those movements, but to start with, I will use a light weight just to make sure my glutes are super awake. I will squeeze really hard, do some high reps, pre-exhaust them a little bit. Pre-exhaust means you are tiring out that muscle. Your body knows to use that muscle. Hip thrusting and RDLing usually come first, and then I will move into some isolation movements. Isolation movements are gonna be like single leg RDLs, wide stance goblet squats, dumbbell RDL. Isolation movements are gonna be super fun. You can really change things up, but make sure you're really hitting those glutes, getting that good glute stretch, maybe some more high rep movements. With the hip thrust and RDLs, my rep range is usually gonna be between 8 and 12, which is a lower rep range because I'm pushing some heavy weight. With the single leg RDLs, I'll usually do a 15 rep range. With the dumbbell RDLs, I'll do a 20 rep range. It really varies. If you're still having trouble activating your glutes, I would recommend doing some activation in between each exercise. So maybe throw in some frog pumps, throw in some banded walks, just to keep waking up those glutes and saying, hey, we're working today, okay? On glute days, I always make sure I'm also working my hamstrings. Hamstrings are super important for overall leg strength, but they also just look really nice. Love hamstrings. Moving on to Saturday. This is the day that I usually train with Greg because I do not like training back very much. I'm getting better at it, but I definitely struggle activating my back. Comment below if you have the same issue. This is such a big issue for me. Struggle training my back, but it is so important. Back strength is going to help with your lifting in general, and it looks really good because when you have a wider back, your waist looks smaller. Back is very important. I often have Greg train me on back because back is like his thing. And when we train back, we often also train biceps. Back and biceps are going to be a good combo because when you're training back, you're often also activating your biceps. For back day, we do have a particular warm-up we do. We like to start on the TRX. If you have one in your gym, that's a great way to warm up your back. Hold onto the handles, lean back a little bit and pull up. Squeeze those shoulder blades. That is the tip that Greg has given me from the beginning. Squeeze those shoulder blades together to activate your back. We love doing lat pull downs, rows. Greg does barbell rows. You could do dumbbell rows. There are a lot of different back exercises you can do. Just play around and try to find one that activates your back the best. I also like chest supported back machines where you're leaning on something and pulling back. If I'm not feeling too tired this day, I may throw in some abs, but I already did it on Monday and Wednesday, so it's kind of up in the air. As of right now, I train abs about 2 to 3 times a week, probably more about 3. I'm really enjoying it and seeing my core get stronger. Sunday for me currently is another rest day. At the moment, as I said, I'm trying to gain lean muscle, and rest is very important when you're trying to gain muscle. In general, on rest days, we are pretty active. We take a hike with Lulu every single morning, and then I walk her again 2 to 3 times throughout the day. I'm always running around doing things, so I definitely am a very active person. As you may have noticed, I don't really do cardio right now, and that is because we are just so active throughout our day. If you're like me and you hate gym cardio, you hate the Stairmaster, you hate the treadmill, just move more throughout your day. Work up a sweat at least 3 times a day, and that doesn't have to be like sprinting down the street. You know, you could just take a walk with your dog, walk to the grocery store, whatever it may be, just get moving, and you'll burn fat more quickly than you even realize. I think the next time that I will be doing a little bit more cardio possibly is when I cut fat next, which is when we go on vacation. We're thinking of going on vacation around Thanksgiving time, and around that time I will be trying to cut fat. So guys, that is my current fitness update and my current workout split. I really hope it was helpful to you. Remember, you do not have to mimic my workout split. I hope it gave you some ideas to create your own. There are no rules. Make it work for you. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and don't forget to subscribe. I love you guys so much. Make sure you comment below if you have any questions. I always try to get back to you guys' comments. Love you, and I will talk to you in the next video.